You can't control your performance, but you can control your preparation. So compete relentlessly at it. One of the very first moments I kind of understood or comprehended competing and going all in on something and putting yourself through those uncomfortable spots in a practice room was actually on a wrestling mat. Growing up, my dad was an All-American wrestler. He's a high school wrestling coach, coached me and all my buddies all the way up through from literally my first steps were on a wrestling mat, 4 years old, to high school. We're going in and we have a coaching staff there that's super talented, really good program that we built up. And it's going in my junior year, have a couple Division I offers to go play football. NDSU is like the first one. And I kind of felt like I was doing something, right? Like I felt 17 years old, you're on top of the world, ranked really highly, never really losing in wrestling. And my coaching staff brought in this guy, Andy Kazik. Dude is a certified baller, like absolute stud. Black belt Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu guy. He's winning Pan Am games, like unbelievable. He won the national championship at Lawrence University in wrestling. And he comes in as a part of the staff a couple times a week. He's sacrificing time with his family. He's leaving work early to come basically work out with some of the heavier weight guys, like myself included. He could absolutely, put the wood to anybody, right? Like he was like that. In my junior year, like I did not like feeling uncomfortable. I avoided him in every practice. I made sure to stay away. I was practicing because it felt good to win. It felt good to win on the weekends, during dual meets, in practice. I just wanted to win. I just wanted to feel good. I just needed pats on the back, right? Like I wasn't really preparing for those biggest challenges. I wasn't using Coach Kazik as a resource, and he didn't push it. Whenever we went, it was tough and it was hard and I got whooped. But at the end of the day, like I had to show up and ask to compete. I remember going into the state tournament my junior year, highly ranked, ready to make a run and win the state tournament, win the whole thing. I ended up hitting a little bit of adversity in the state quarterfinals. I ended up losing in double overtime, a nail biter. Everyone was cheering. We're one of the last matches going back and forth, back and forth. I ended up cracking under pressure. It's something that I definitely could have won, should have won. I didn't. I was put in an uncomfortable position. The lights were on and I cracked under pressure. Fast forward into that football season. As a senior, I'm preparing. I'm doing everything right. I'm working hard. I'm trying to get these big scholarship offers. I'm doing everything I can. I use all of that motivation from that wrestling moment of falling short at the state tournament. I'm going to be better. I'm going to do things the right way. I'm going to prepare. I'm going to lift. I'm going to develop, put in a full season that turns into a state player of the year. You're doing everything right. Your team goes to the state semifinals for like the second time in program history. We're really like breaking barriers on this football thing. I get that Wisconsin offer, right? Very late, but it happened. It was the dream offer. It was the dream school. So now I'm 18 years old, senior in high school, state player of the year as a football guy, get the Wisconsin offer, the dream offer, and you're heading into a wrestling season where it's kind of like all this athletic accomplishment is kind of, the ship has been sailed, right? Like I don't need wrestling anymore. There's whispers of, oh, do you continue to wrestle? Do you continue to compete? Do you still put yourself in uncomfortable situations, or are you protecting yourself from injury? Are you making sure that scholarship's still going to be there by the time you leave? Those are thoughts I had to go through, and eventually I made the decision. I'm gonna wrestle. I'm gonna do this thing one last time, one last season. I'm gonna try and win a state championship. My dad won a state championship. I knew that I was capable of winning a state championship, so I'm gonna go all in. I'm gonna do this thing. So Kazik's there, and we're going through practices. I'm missing some practices, some tournaments early on in the season because we had a late football season. I'm still taking official visits before, I sign on the dotted line to go to Wisconsin. I'm still figuring my things out, right? Well, I come back after that and there's a practice. It's a Wednesday and our dual meets are on Thursday. So Wednesday is normally a time for guys to lose weight. They're running calls, they're cutting weight so that they're going to make weight. It's not a really intense day so that you can perform on Thursday. Well, we knew I had a bye on Thursday. There wasn't going to be anyone there for me to wrestle at that meet. So it's just me and Kazik, and we go for an hour-long grind match. If you don't know much about wrestling, high school wrestling is 6 minutes long. Like that's what a match is. But it's some of the most tiring 6 minutes. It's physical, it's an altercation. It's iron versus iron. Like you are on an island, it's just you out there. And one of a good wrestling drill to do to build your endurance, to build your mental toughness is a grind match. And you can be 30 minutes, it could be an hour. This one with Kazik ended up being an hour. We were going at it pretty good. And I remember I actually took him down. I took him down one time, and I was feeling good about it because normally I never take down Kasich. And if I do, he's letting me kind of work through the motions. But I felt like I actually, kind of caught him. I took him down. I'm talking trash. I'm 18. I got this D1 offer. I'm feeling myself, right? We're competing in this practice room. And man, he turned that intensity up on me. Turn it up. Smothering. White on rice. I couldn't escape. Couldn't get out. Couldn't move. Couldn't stand up. Physical, emotional, spiritual, everything. It took everything out of me. I'm bleeding, I'm sweating, my knees aren't working, like I'm exhausted, I can't move, I'm seeing double, like absolutely mentally and physically broken. And dude is just getting started. There's no place to go. There's no one to come help you. You're in this room and you feel like you are on the brink of your life. Like whatever that edge was that you're chasing, that you're trying to prepare towards, man, I was 10 steps past that thing. Totally past it. And it didn't stop. Got put up in a corner, couldn't get out. Shoving, pushing, doing everything I can to get out, to move, to get out of that. I was uncomfortable and my skin was shaking. Like I couldn't move. I couldn't think. Kasich's just there. Keep going, keep pushing, trying to push me towards that edge to see really how far I could go. I was broken, man. I ended up getting out of that corner. I shoved him as hard as I could. Wasn't working. Eventually get out, find my exit. I walked straight to my locker, man. Emptied that thing. On my way home, I quit. I quit wrestling, man. I don't need this. What am I doing getting put in these uncomfortable situations that I don't need? I have this D1 offer. I have everything I need. I have this football. I have a different path. I have a different journey. I don't need this. I don't need this adversity. I don't need this confrontation. I don't need this altercation. I don't need this preparation. I drove home, man. I quit. I'm sitting there trying to figure out what I'm going to do next and how I'm going to tell my parents, how I'm going to tell my coaches. And I was just kind of by myself in my parents' house. And I'm just thinking like, man, what am I doing, man? I just quit. This is how my career is going to end as a high school athlete, is by quitting after a tough practice. I can't go out like that. And then came the decision of embracing that change, of that challenge, of knowing that I have to go through something that I've never gone through in order to accomplish something that's never been accomplished before. For me, I had to put my pride to the side. I had to put the ego aside. I had to put the offer aside. I had to put all the pats on the back aside and say, you haven't been good enough. You haven't been good enough to accomplish your goals. I didn't do it. I have not won a state championship yet. That is a fact. But my pride, my ego, it was so built up, man. It was ridiculous. And that physical altercation, that uncomfortable preparation that Kasich was putting me through laid a foundation for the rest of my career, for the rest of my life. I repacked my bag, drove to school the next morning, put everything back up in my locker. I say I quit, but I never missed a practice. And I was back with the team the next day with an internalized decision saying, I'm going to embrace, I'm going to ask for all this uncomfortableness. I'm going to see what great condition I can be in. Mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually. Let's see if I can put this whole thing together and make a run and dominate and win a state championship. Something I've never done before. I head back and every time I saw Kasich, let's go. I don't care if I have a tournament the next day. I don't care if I have a dual mate the next day. I don't care if we have to cut weight, whatever it is. I want the challenge. Grades started going up. Personality started going up. Being a team leader started going up, all because it was contagious. It started with that decision. Let me go through something so uncomfortable that I've never been through before so I can accomplish something that I've never accomplished before.